Me, 26-year-old female, and my boyfriend, 25-year-old male, let's call him Mark, have been together for over 4 years now. We are great together, and I think we have a remarkably good relationship. Before I open up about my issue, I want to make it clear that this isn't an am I the idiot, am I the jerk post. I know very well that I am the jerk in this situation, and I feel selfish, guilty, superficial, and stupid about this. I'm looking for people who've had similar situations and/or can help me, give me some sort of perspective. Also, I will be seeing my therapist, who is a couples therapist too, about this soon. I just need to talk about it with someone, and I don't feel comfortable telling anyone in my life. So Mark has been balding ever since he was about 19. When I met him at 21, he had fully shaved his head. Not only did I not see this as a problem, I thought he looked very attractive with a shaved head. So we started dating, and throughout the years, Mark has tried growing his hair, shaving only part of it, trying different hairstyles, etc. I've always liked his hair and his bald head as well. I genuinely think he's one of the most handsome men alive. Mark, however, does feel very insecure about his looks, and especially about his baldness. So we both saw some of those 2P Queen TikToks, and he decided he wanted to get one. I was supportive, but I did think he couldn't look better than he already did, so he went and got one. Finally, yesterday was the day, and I'm honestly disgusted by it, for multiple reasons. For one, it is a lot of hair. I've never seen so much hair on Mark's head. It's like very coarse, thick, abundant, the blackest of black. Mark's hair was also never that dark. It also feels and smells artificial. Kind of like a wig, I guess. It doesn't blend well with Mark's natural hair either. And, I could and probably will get used to the look of it, even though I honestly hate it. But the feel of it disgusts me so incredibly much. I think what makes me the most icky is that not only does this not feel anything like Mark's hair, which was thin, soft, fluffy, kind of lighter, definitely not as abundant, but it feels so much like my ex's hair. And I already hated my ex's hair. So what ended up happening is that I cannot, for the life of me, bring myself to touch him the way I used to. I used to love caressing his face and his head. I loved kissing his forehead so much. I loved petting his head. I love having his head on my chest. And now I'm so disgusted and I guess triggered by it. I don't think I can do it. I feel my body tensing up whenever I get close to him. I've even actively avoided appearing at all sexy to him because I don't think I could have intimacy with him like this. So, on the other hand, he's so happy. He says he finally feels handsome and like himself. He says hair used to be a way for him to express himself. Apparently everyone in his life, some friends and his mom, has told him that it looks great. And I don't want to exaggerate my perspective, but my honest thought was that everyone must have been lying to make him happy. I don't know how to put it nicely, but it kind of looks like he's wearing a black, plasticky bird's nest on his head. I've tried to be discreet and not say too much about how I feel, because I want to support him and I want him to be happy, but I'm so bad at lying and hiding my emotions. He knows I don't like it and says I'll get used to it. I can't tell him I don't think I can get used to touching a knockoff of my ex's awful hair when petting my boyfriend's head. He says that in 2 weeks he'll be able to take it off at home. I can't tell him that he doesn't deserve a partner that's only attracted to him when he feels the least like himself. I feel awful. I've cried about this so many times in the last 24 hours. I just don't know what to do. My heart is honestly broken, and I keep coming back to an intense feeling of missing my partner, even though he's right there. I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but 2 days ago I was convinced this was meant to be my husband and the father of my children, and now I can't picture my future with him at all. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. It's been 1 day. Give it a week to be fair. If after a week you still can't stand it, you do need to pony up and tell him. At which point, I'd leave your ex out altogether. That's weird. Just keep it simple. He's the man you love, want to marry, have kids with. He no longer looks like himself, and it's really upsetting to you. You want back the man you love and will struggle to be intimate with a man who now looks like a stranger. Comment 2. I'm going to be brutally honest here. If a hair accessory that's helping him with his self-esteem could break your heart, make you cry, and reconsider your future with him as your husband and the father of your children, I honestly think he'll be better off without you. I'm only basing this on what you wrote. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a wild couple of weeks, and I've got some updates that I need to get off my chest. So, after I posted last time, things with Mark and his 2P took a turn for the worse. Remember how I said he was over the moon with his new hair? Well, that happiness didn't last long. It turns out his friends and family weren't as supportive as he thought. His mom, who initially said she loved it, accidentally let slip that she thought it was a bit much during a family dinner. Mark was crushed. He's always been close with his mom, and her opinion means the world to him. But that's not even the juicy part. Mark's best friend, who's been his confidant since they were kids, confessed to me that he thought the 2P was a bad idea from the start. He only cheered Mark on because he didn't want to hurt his feelings. This friend has always been the straight shooter in their group, the one who tells it like it is. So, when Mark found out about this, it was a double blow to his confidence. Now let's talk about the injustice that's been eating at me. Mark's workplace has this big-shot client who's known for being a bit of a jerk. This guy comes in for a meeting and starts making snide remarks about Mark's hairpiece, loud enough for everyone to hear. Mark was humiliated, and his coworkers, instead of standing up for him, just laughed it off. I was furious when he told me. No one deserves to be treated like that, especially not Mark, who's the kindest person I know. Amidst all this, our relationship has been on thin ice. I've been trying to be supportive, but it's been hard. I still can't stand the 2P, and it's affecting our intimacy. I've been avoiding any physical contact, which Mark has definitely noticed. He's been trying to be understanding, but I can tell it's hurting him. Then last week, things came to a head. Mark and I had a huge fight. He accused me of being superficial and not loving him for who he is. That hit me hard because it's not true. I love Mark more than anything, but I just couldn't get past the 2P. In the heat of the moment, I blurted out everything. How it reminded me of my ex, how it made me feel disgusted. Mark was devastated. He left the house and didn't come back until late at night. The next day, we had a long talk. It was one of those heart-to-heart conversations where everything comes out. Mark admitted that he got the 2P because he thought it would make me find him more attractive, which was the last thing I wanted. I felt so guilty for making him feel that way. We decided to see my therapist together. It was an intense session, but it helped us understand each other better. Mark realized that his insecurities about his baldness were affecting more than just his self-image. They were impacting our relationship too. Now here's the shocker. After our therapy session, Mark did something I never expected. He took off the 2P and decided to go back to his shaved head. He said he needed to learn to love himself as he is, and he couldn't do that hiding behind a hairpiece. I was so proud of him for making that decision, but I also felt a wave of relief wash over me. But just when I thought we were getting back on track, another curveball came our way. Mark's boss called him into the office and gave him an ultimatum. Either keep the 2P on at work to maintain a professional appearance, or risk losing his biggest client, which could jeopardize his job. Mark was torn. He had just made this huge step towards self-acceptance, and now his job was on the line. He's been wrestling with what to do. On one hand, he doesn't want to give in to the pressure and the superficial standards of his workplace. On the other, we have bills to pay, and his job is important to us. It's been a tough decision, and he's still trying to figure it out. As for me, I've been doing my best to be there for him, to support him no matter what he decides. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, and I'm just hoping we can get through this together. Wife wants me to take local girl as concubine during China trip. I refuse, but she keeps asking. For clarity, it is late in the evening, and this post was done with a throwaway, since I am taking no chances with my wife finding my account even though she does not use Reddit at all. Anyways, while my wife and I are both Chinese, I was born in California, and she was born in mainland China, and did not immigrate until she was a teenager. She is also deeply into Chinese history, loves cultural role play, refers to me as her emperor, and we have gone to numerous Chinese events. I am not extremely thrilled to go each time, since these take up big chunks of the day, but I think it's pretty cool learning about the history culture of my people, and I will always be supportive of my wife's interests and hobbies. This past December, my wife and I decided that we planned to visit China this coming summer. She initially asked if I was hesitant, and I told her a bit since, 1, it would be my first time, 2, I would rate my speaking and writing skills as a solid C+, and 3, I did not want to be seen as a foreigner despite being ethnically Han Chinese. Most of all, 4, I am worried about embarrassing myself and her in front of her Ye and Nai Nai. She tried to reassure me that things will all go well, but also that it was much more than simply seeing her family and that I will be treated like an emperor. I initially did not ask any questions since I assumed it would be more cultural stuff and that I would just be very well treated since I am family. This past weekend, she asked me something that truly surprised me: if I would be interested in take a local girl as a concubine while we are in the rural town visiting my grandparents. I truly thought this was a joke, since I have given no indication that I would be interested in a marital affair. Heck, I was a virgin when I met her and had nearly zero experience with women before meeting her. When I asked if she was joking, she firmly said no. I asked again, and she repeated her stance and began to list out her rules, explaining that 1, the arrangement will be consensual with the lady, 2, it will be temporary, 3, that I will use a condom, and 4, that she will watch everything. Despite this conversation happening on Saturday, I doubled down mentally thinking that it's just some sick joke. But lo and behold, she asked me this morning if I had thought more about her remark, and I stomped, repeating my stance. Before leaving for work, she said, "I will wait and see if things change." I've looked into this, and concubines are indeed a thing in Chinese history, but truly this has to be something else, right? I'm not doing this. How do I get her to stop asking? I think my wife wants me to have an affair when we visit China this summer. I'm not going to do it, but she keeps bringing it up. How do I get her to stop asking me this? Edit. A few things I would like to make clear. My wife is not shy in any way, nor was she a virgin when we met. It's literally the opposite, as I explained in the post. The closest kinks to this is that she has sometimes asked to watch me jerk off to corn, and her use of the term emperor. Pretty much nothing is even close to her current suggestion. Nor am I asking if this is a current phenomenon, hence why I clearly said in Chinese history and used the modern phrase marital affair. I kept the term in to contrast the wildly different perspectives that we have on this situation. Instead, I'm specifically asking how to shut this whole thing down. A few people also made remarks about my use of load and behold. I did not know I was spelling the phrase incorrectly. I've always used it like so and was never corrected until now, and seems to be a common typo too. #IP=1. I plan to speak with my wife within the next few days to confirm that this is either a fetish of hers or it's something more sinister. Plans to divorce me. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. My first thought is, it's a trap. My second thought is that it might be a fetish for her. I would ask her what led to this idea, concept/request, as it's not something you would ever have conceived of. It might be that she wants to watch you with someone else, and doing it in a completely different country means you never have a chance of anyone at home finding out. Comment 2. It's not an affair if it's with her knowledge and consent. It's essentially a kink desire that she has expressed interest in, and you can respond to it as such. I see that you're interested in this, but it's not something I'm interested in. Please stop asking me about it. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post, and I've got to get this off my chest. I'm using a throwaway because I'm not taking any chances with my wife finding out, even though she's not a Reddit user. So, remember how my wife wanted me to take a concubine during our trip to China? Well, things escalated quickly after that. I thought it was a joke, but she was dead serious. She kept bringing it up, and I was getting more and more uncomfortable. I mean, I'm the guy who was a virgin before meeting her, and now she's suggesting this rough idea? I finally sat down with her to talk. I needed to know if this was just a fetish or something more. She opened up about her fascination with Chinese history, and how she wanted to live out a fantasy. She said it was her way of connecting with her heritage and spicing up our marriage. I was shocked, to say the least. But here's the twist. She told me that if I agreed, she would fulfill one of my longtime fantasies. Now, I've always been into gaming, and she's never been a fan. She always thought it was a waste of time. But she offered to join me in my gaming world for a month. No complaints, no rolling her eyes. She would genuinely try to enjoy it and understand why I love it so much. I was torn. I love my wife, and I wanted to make her happy, but this was way out of my comfort zone. I thought about it for days, going back and forth. I remembered how she supported my interests, even though she wasn't thrilled about attending Chinese events with me. She was always there by my side, learning about my culture. After a lot of thinking, I came up with a compromise. I told her I couldn't go through with the concubine idea, but I suggested we role play instead. Just the two of us, no third party involved. I would be her emperor during our trip, and we would explore her fantasy in a way that didn't cross my boundaries. To my surprise, she agreed. She was actually excited about the roleplay idea. She said it was the perfect solution and that she didn't really want to bring someone else into our marriage. She just got caught up in the fantasy and didn't realize how it was affecting me. We started planning our trip with this new arrangement in mind. She was researching costumes and scenarios, and I was getting into it too. It felt like we were connecting on a new level, understanding each other's desires and limits. But then, another news dropped. Her grandparents, who we were supposed to visit, found out about our plans. They were traditional, and the idea of us role-playing didn't sit well with them. They were furious and said we were disrespecting Chinese culture. My wife was devastated. She didn't want to upset her family, but she also didn't want to give up on our compromise. We had a long, hard talk about family expectations and our own happiness. It was a tough conversation, but it brought us closer together. In the end, we decided to respect her grandparents' wishes and not role-play while visiting them. But we also agreed to continue exploring our fantasies privately, away from family eyes. It was a delicate balance, but we were both willing to make sacrifices for each other. As for the gaming, my wife has been true to her word. She's been joining me in my gaming sessions, and it's been a blast. She's actually getting pretty good at it, and I can see her enjoying herself. It's a small thing, but it means the world to me. So that's where we are now. We're learning to navigate our desires while respecting each other's boundaries. It's not always easy, but we're making it work. And as for the trip to China, we're just going to enjoy it as a regular couple. No emperor and concubine play. Just us, exploring the culture and spending time with family. Husband's friend keeps flirting with him, and I don't know what to do. Oh boy, she made a huge mistake. I need advice for how to handle a woman who is trying to cross boundaries with my husband with as minimal drama as possible. My husband and I have been together since college. Married 4 years, together for 8. Let's just call him Logan. We keep in touch with our college friends, and we live in the same city as these 2 women from college, and not too far from a 3rd woman in this friend group. The 3 of them are super tight and close-knit. They were roommates in college, and the 2 women who live close to us are still roommates. Only one of these women really matters for the purposes of this post. Let's call her Anna. Anna, as I'm starting to realize, has wanted Logan the entire time. They had a sort of flirty relationship before we started dating, but it didn't bother me a ton. Anna is flirty with everyone, even me, so I thought maybe this is just her personality. But something happened recently that's put everything into question. I threw a holiday party, and Anna and her roommate ended up spending the night because it was so late and they were drunk. While we were all getting ready for bed, Anna starts taking off her clothes to change into her pajamas, with both my husband and me standing right next to her. When her top came off and she was in her bra, she made a little comment. "Ooh, I'm just full boobin' in front of Logan." I was also drunk and high, and if I said what was on my mind, I knew I was going to end up on the local news the next day, lol. Better to say nothing than to do something regretful in my inebriated state. She also kept making comments about my body throughout the evening. I'm smaller chested, and she is like a cup size or 2 bigger than me. She kept making quips about my small chest. I only bring this up because I can 100% tell she is nitpicking to find a point of comparison where she thinks she can outdo me. To put it gently, Anna is not ugly or anything, but I have no reason to be threatened by her looks or her body at all. Again, I wouldn't even mention it, were it not for the fact that I can tell she's trying to forge a competition where there is not one. It got me thinking and stewing, because in the back of my mind, it always did bother me how flirty she was all the time. I put it out of my mind because she flirts with everyone, and why start drama? But I think there is a pattern here that I'm starting to recognize. For example, we went to a wedding last year, and she asked me to take a picture of her and Logan. She literally leaned her head on his shoulder for the first picture, and then for the second picture, leaned her body into him with her arm around his waist. Then for her birthday, a couple months later, she posts a photo dump. There are only 2 men in this set of pictures, one of whom is obviously gay. And the other is the picture she made me take of her and Logan. They look like a couple. If you didn't know better, you'd think they were together. There's other little things like this that have been going on for years. Always stuff that's not quite egregious enough to confront. But for brevity's sake, I won't continue to list examples. You're probably wondering how Logan reacts to all of this, and the answer is that he seems oblivious. He seems flabbergasted that I'm noticing these things and am uncomfortable with it. I don't know how genuine his obliviousness is. That's a conversation for a different post. I also want to stress that this is not a matter of jealousy, but a matter of respect. Like I said, I'm not threatened by her looks. The threat she poses is proximity and availability. If that's enough to tempt Logan, then she can have him. It's not about me not wanting Logan to have female friends. It's about Anna disrespecting my marriage and me as a friend. She's being unkind, and that's all there is to it at the end of the day. My question now is, how do I handle this? Direct confrontation is out of the question, even if I'm kind and gentle about it. Trust me when I say that she'll paint me out to be jealous and crazy. There's no winning or even being truly heard on that front. And while I've been friends with these women, the other 2 in the group of 3 mentioned previously, for nearly a decade, they are much closer with Anna. There's no way the details of a private conversation would stay private, and nor would those divulged details be honest. They'd take Anna's side in a heartbeat, and it would cause drama. I'd be ostracized from the group, and it would cause weird rifts with the larger college friend group. I like my college friends. I don't want to put Logan or anyone else in a position to choose sides. Any advice for how to put this woman in check with as few disturbances to the space-time continuum as possible? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You're not the only one who notices Anna's desperation, flirting with everyone, so I wouldn't worry about her painting you as something you're not. I highly doubt a man doesn't notice a woman nitpicking at his wife's appearance. Plus, you spoke up about it. Your concern should be his concern. The whole acting like men are just too stupid to notice or do XYZ is going too far, but like you said, that's another discussion. I don't know why you're so concerned about stirring up drama when she's the one starting the drama, not you. Stop carrying guilt that does not belong to you. Comment 2. You shouldn't do anything. Logan should address her and tell her it makes him uncomfortable. Your name should be left out. Then you both should go low contact, LC, even if it means losing the friend group. You cannot win in this situation if your husband is not behind you 100%. Sit him down and tell him how uncomfortable her behavior makes you. Remind him of things she has said, show him the pictures she posted. If he does not back you up, it's time for a new friend group and a new husband. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been 3 months since I posted about the situation with Anna, and boy do I have an update for you all. I wish I could say things got better, but they took a turn for the dramatic. So, after the holiday party incident, I decided to keep a closer eye on Anna's interactions with Logan. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I also couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Logan and I have always had a strong relationship, but Anna's behavior was starting to get to me. One night, we were all at a mutual friend's birthday bash. The music was loud, the drinks were flowing, and everyone was having a good time. That's when I saw it. Anna, who had been sticking close to Logan all night, leaned in and whispered something in his ear. I couldn't hear over the noise, but Logan's face said it all. He looked shocked, and he glanced over at me immediately. I knew then that whatever she said, it wasn't just friendly banter. I confronted Logan about it when we got home. He admitted that Anna had confessed her feelings for him, saying she'd always thought they had a special connection. Logan assured me he didn't feel the same way and that he loved me. He was just as uncomfortable with the situation as I was. We agreed that he would distance himself from Anna and that we would work through this together. But Anna didn't back down. She started texting Logan more frequently, sending him messages late at night. Logan showed me every text, and we decided he would stop responding. That's when Anna's behavior escalated. She started showing up at places she knew we'd be, always making sure to be extra touchy with Logan, trying to make me jealous. The breaking point came at another get-together. Anna cornered Logan in the kitchen and tried to kiss him. Logan pushed her away, but not before I walked in. I was heartbroken, not because I thought Logan had encouraged her, but because Anna had been my friend. I felt betrayed. The confrontation that followed was the jaw-dropping moment I never wanted. I couldn't hold back anymore. I told Anna she needed to respect our marriage and that her behavior was unacceptable. She tried to play the victim, saying she couldn't help how she felt, but I wasn't having it. The other two women from our college group were there, and they witnessed the whole thing. I thought they would take Anna's side, but to my surprise, they didn't. They were shocked by her actions and apologized to me for not seeing what was happening sooner. Since then, things have been tense. Anna has been ostracized from our group, which I have mixed feelings about. I didn't want drama, but I also couldn't let her disrespect my marriage. Logan has been incredibly supportive, and our relationship is stronger for having gone through this. But it's been hard. I've lost a friend, or at least someone I thought was a friend, and the dynamic in our group has changed. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.